On this edition of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast, Max Hartman joins us to talk about a wild few months in his baseball journey, including a trip to Florida with the junior national team. Welcome to episode 149 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. Many athletes have the dream of representing their country on the world stage. Whether it's the Olympics, World Championships, or just tournaments, the pride involved in wearing the maple leaf is always apparent, and that is certainly the case with Max Hartman. Originally from St. Albert, Hartman was invited to join Dogs Academy, and he hasn't turned back. From provincial titles to Tournament 12 in Toronto to playing for the WCBL's Okotoks Dogs Black this summer, where he hit .286 with 22 RBIs and 13 stolen bases in 36 regular season and playoff games. Most recently, Hartman was invited to Baseball Canada's junior national team training camp in Ajax, where he was so impressive he was named to the final roster for the 18U Friendship Series against the U.S. in Florida. That all wrapped up this past week, and Hartman's back home now, so he joined us earlier this week to talk about his baseball journey, which will soon include Washington State University, the Division I school he's committed to attending in 2022. Max, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Fresh off that trip with Baseball Canada and the junior national team, take us back to the beginning here. How did that opportunity all come to be?
Well, I was doing summer school class when I got the call from Greg Hamilton, and as soon as he told me about going to the camp, it was a leap in my stomach and super exciting, and I was so excited to even get the chance to go to the camp and try out for it. And then we got to Ajax and got all the gear, and like I've never gotten that much gear in my life, and I was really overwhelmed with how cool that just even the start of getting there was, and how professional they were with handling it. And then once the baseball all started, that took up our entire day, but like it's doing what I love, so it was fun every single day doing similar things, but on a schedule and with fun guys to be around. So,
were you aware that you were even in contention for this team? Was it something that you were kind of keeping an eye on, hoping that maybe you'd get the call? Or walk us through kind of that anticipation piece.
Not at all. I was in grade 9 or 10, and I knew that some Dogs guys previously had played on Team Canada, but I knew that was very prestigious, and I kind of put it off in grade 10 and 11, saying I'm an Alberta guy. I don't think I've been seen enough at a camp or wherever they would see me, and I just kind of put it in the back of my mind saying if I make it or if I get asked, then that's really cool, but if I don't, it's not the end of the world. But when I did get called, I was like extremely excited.
So you go to Ajax, and what's your mindset going into that? Is it, hey, just put my best foot forward and hope for the best? Or did you go in with a game plan at all? Walk us through going through that whole process just to get to be part of that selected team.
Yeah, I got there, and the first couple of days, you kind of got a feel for what the talent was like around me, and it was really supportive by the coaches saying just be who you are. And so I just went in looking to compete, looking to do the best things that I could do well, and show off what I do well the best, and just show the coaches that I'm able to compete at a high level with them, no matter how hard the game gets, no matter how hard the pitching is. I just tried to compete as best I could.
So you end up getting the call to go down to Florida. What was that experience in Florida like?
It was amazing. We traveled as a team, and that was one of my first times traveling on a plane as a team, and that was really cool. But then we got there, and the pirate city that we stayed in was so cool. We got locker rooms. We got lunches made for us. It was such a surreal experience to be a part of Team Canada and get to play against the U.S. and on all those different fields and stuff.
I'm sure people will come to their own conclusions when it comes to the score sheet, but in the room after each game, what's the message? What are you hoping to work on? Because you're obviously up against a pretty formidable foe.
Yeah, we just had to realize that we needed to come in and compete every single day. We needed to just be as good as we can be, and we won't out-talent them pretty much. They've obviously got some really good players there and a lot of population to choose from. So, yeah, our coaches were really supportive the entire time of saying just go out there and do your best every day, show up, and the score sheet sometimes didn't tell the full story because the game was a little bit closer than it actually was. That we were a hit away sometimes, a catch away, like a defensive play away, and just sometimes the ball didn't go our way.
Obviously an opportunity as well to maybe focus in on some things personally. Did you learn anything about yourself through this process or anything that you figure you need to work on going forward?
Yeah, for that, I just realized that I have to hit velo more. I have to learn to hit 90, 95 plus. Like, it was crazy the amount of guys on Team USA and even at Team Canada tryout that were throwing above 90 miles an hour, which is pretty hard to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely just putting better swings on baseballs that were not fastballs either. Off-speed pitches definitely improved from what I've seen before. So definitely off-speed pitches from those type of guys are going to be top-notch.
How much of an eye-opener was it to be able to take part in a process like this with your fellow countrymen and get to see sort of the talent that we have across this country?
Yeah, it was insane. As soon as I got there, and as soon as we started practicing together, I knew that we were really talented. And I knew that every single guy, even at the camp, deserved to be there. My roommate had an absolute amazing camp, and I just came home every night and picked his brain about stuff, and it was just a crazy experience to be around those guys. So I picked their brain as much as I could about approaches, about stances, about hand placement, all that kind of stuff.
I suppose you make some pretty good friends along the way as well.
Yeah, a lot of the guys were really nice. Definitely some lifelong friends there, especially some that I'll play college baseball against, hopefully, and see long down the road, but also guys that I'll come back to the camp this year and next spring as well, and I'll see them. So those connections are definitely going to be there for a while.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, you had some friends pre-existing there as well. What did it mean to you to be able to take this journey alongside some of your Dogs Academy mates?
It was really exciting. I was happy to be one of those guys that got chosen from the Dogs, and just going there as 6 guys together, that it was pretty cool to represent our country there, but as well as the Dogs, because that was a pretty good showing from them.
I know hockey players are asked about wearing the maple leaf on the front of the chest, and I know baseball uniforms are a little bit different, but still the sentiment is there. What did it mean to you to represent your country and wear the maple leaf?
Yeah, I really took it into my mind, and I took it in a lot when we got to the U.S. and we played our first game with Canada across my chest, and I was really proud. It was a surreal experience to just be able to represent every single person that lives in our country. And even though some might not be watching at that moment in time, it definitely would mean a lot to them if they heard of it, and all of the people that back home that know me and know about me. It feels really good to make them proud and show the rest of the world that Canada's competing in baseball.
What did it mean to you as well to be named as one of the top 25 under 18 players across this country when you think about it in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, when you take that into consideration too, that's really overwhelming, but something to be proud of a lot. Honestly, I was really, really excited to be, obviously have that, but still got to work hard, and it just gives a lot more motivation to keep getting better.
Want to go back in time a little bit here with you, Max, and talk about your beginnings in baseball. And obviously, football and hockey tend to be the top-ranked sports when it comes to the minds of a young, especially a young Alberta kid. So growing up, was baseball always your sport, or do you remember the moment when you kind of fell in love with the game?
Yeah, I've always been playing baseball, but as well as hockey. I played hockey up until I was 13 or 14, and I knew that eventually I could have a future in baseball if I kept pursuing that. I knew that I had some talent, have some raw talent, and that I would have a future in post-secondary, which was kind of my dream to play baseball in post-secondary once I kind of heard of that path and lifestyle.
Talk a little bit about that moment when it kind of clicked for you, because I know with a lot of multi-sport athletes, they kind of struggle a little bit with that notion of having to pick one or the other. Did you have that struggle, or were you dead set from the beginning, like this is the path, this is where we're going?
Yeah, hockey got a little bit old for me, and I loved baseball. Every day, baseball was fun to be at the field. I could go there for 5 or 6 hours and not get bored. It was definitely my sport from the beginning.
Who introduced you to the sport or pushed you in that certain direction?
Yeah, my dad and my mom have always played ball. My dad played at a pretty high level, and he's always competitive and always pushed us to be the best we can be, and whatever sport we liked. But definitely, both parents encouraged baseball, especially, and also grandparents.
You're a St. Albert kid, and you end up at Dogs Academy. How did that opportunity come about?
I knew a guy from Sherwood Park, Connor Pope, and was played against him when he was in Sherwood Park and I was in St. Albert, and he eventually went down to the Dogs a little bit before me. And then we went to some Dogs tournaments, and I knew that ever since then I was like, okay, this might have to be the journey, and it might have to be the goal to go there, because they're very strong and competitive, obviously, and the opportunities that I got there were really good.
From that standpoint, looking back on it, a little bit of 2020 hindsight, I suppose, but what did that program mean to you looking back on it, being able to think about the things that you learned there?
Yeah, it meant the world. It was really good to continue improving, because I had some really raw talent and was really raw and needed some shaping, and the coaches out there are top notch and really helped my journey in baseball.
Anyone in particular you want to single out as far as maybe going that extra mile or taking you under their wing or that kind of thing that really helped mold you a little bit further into the ball player you are today?
Yeah, honestly, all the coaches there have been a big impact in my baseball career. All of them, every single one, have molded pretty much the player I am, and helped me grow into the game, helped me grow into swinging, helped me grow into throwing the ball. Every single one of them has had an impact on how I play.
A lot's been said about that group of players and that team that you grew up with through the Dogs Academy program. And you won championships together. You won tournaments together. You did so many different things together. And a lot of talk has been about the talent and about how special that group was. From your perspective, what was it like being a part of that?
Well, the Dogs definitely have some of the best players in Canada, and they have a winning culture. So it was really fun to be a part of that, because pretty much every day you went into the ball diamond knowing you had to work hard, but you wanted to win, and you thought you were going to win. So you definitely have to work hard for every single game and stuff, but you expect to win every single day that you're at the ball diamond.
You obviously got to fulfill a bit of a dream, I suppose, too, and not something that a lot of high school kids get to do. Is coming up through the academy, you probably watched the Okotoks Dogs college team over the last few years here, now getting the opportunity over this last summer to play for the team. What was that like?
Yeah, I've always had family down here, and so even when I was younger in St. Albert, we came down for Canada Day weekend, and I watched the college team play Canada Day, and we were in the sold-out crowd, and that was just amazing. And I thought the college league was just amazing, and like pro ball, everyone gets autographs and stuff, and and then I got to play in it this year, and I got to be those people and surrounded by those fans and stuff. I got to play in front of some fans that this year, and that was just surreal. Everything was so cool, to the crowd noise during the game, and then signing the autographs, talking to fans after the game. It was so cool.
Was it everything that you kind of expected it would be?
Way more than. I never expected the crowd to have that much impact per se on the game, because you definitely hear them, and it took a while to zone them out and actually just play the game without a little bit of a distraction from the away crowd heckling you or something. But definitely way more than I expected, and really, really cool to be a part of.
And it kind of feels like the journey is only just beginning for you. You've committed to Washington State University as well. What led you to make that decision?
They have a really nice baseball facility. They've got some new coaches, and I was some of their first recruits, and the coaches got to know me as a person as well as a baseball player. I really like the culture that they have started to develop there, and with the help of my coaches at Okotoks, finally came to that decision, and it's also one of the closer schools to Alberta, which is nice for my family to come down as well.
Mm-hmm. What excites you the most about that opportunity to turn a high school career into that post-secondary dream?
Just that extra leap again of competitiveness at baseball at the next level, seeing and being compared to those guys at the next level, and being able to compete and show what I have against really good players from all over the world, and to get my education paid for. It's just an extremely cool opportunity.
Fantastic. So in the next year or so, what do you have planned to kind of make sure that you're able to hit the ground running once you get there?
Just stay hungry. I'm going to, in the winter, keep competing, keep getting better, hit the weight room a whole bunch. But then in the summer, just don't get complacent at all. I want to keep improving, and my coaches definitely will help that, because they do not take time off with their players, and they will push me as hard as I can.
Over the course of your young career, you've probably had a few real cool moments, or moments that made you go, I can't believe I'm here. I'm sure Florida probably ranks pretty high up there at this point, but any others that really stick out to you as wow moments, or maybe starstruck moments where you got to meet somebody, or maybe it's just the ballpark in general? Maybe talk us through a couple of those really cool moments in your books.
Yeah, winning Bantam Provincials, so 15U Provincials with the Okotoks Dogs, was really, really cool, really fun experience, because all of us were pretty tight knit, and every single one of the players on that team had a role in winning that championship, as well as like T12, like Tournament 12 in Toronto. Got to play at the Rogers Center. Even walking downtown Toronto, that was one of the coolest moments of my ball career, and being able to hit BP and hitting the game in the Rogers Center was really, really surreal. And then obviously probably the Team Canada experience was pretty exciting, and one of my best moments in my career so far. Definitely one of my most exciting and most cherishing moments that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Couple more questions for you here, Max. Firstly, you probably had an alumni at Dogs Academy, or maybe a former pro roll in and offer words of encouragement, words of advice. Now that you have that benefit of 2020 hindsight, even though you haven't quite begun that college route yet, what kinds of advice would you offer to those 12 or 13 or 14-year-old kids who are just starting their baseball journeys?
Yeah, just to stick with it. You're going to have bad days and good days, and I think that baseball is 100% a failure sport, and there's going to be a lot of failure in baseball, but you got to love going to the diamond every day and being able to spend an entire day at the ball field. You got to love it, and if you love it, you got to keep continuing, because the sky's the limit if you love something.
Couldn't agree more. Final question for you here, Max. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Everything. To me, and to my family, and and to any of my friends that are close to me, it means everything. The words can't even describe how much I love the sports and how much I look forward to going to ball every day. Just being able to play at the next level now is really exciting, and to know that I'll have a career, hopefully in baseball, and be able to play it every day professionally, hopefully, as well as just in college and even in high school. It's just really means a lot to me. Means the world to have the facilities that I have in Okotoks, and the coaches that I have here, and even my past coaches. It means everything to them, as well as they mean a lot to me.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Max, congratulations on all the success you've achieved to this point. Continued success going forward, and thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast and sharing your story.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'll come back anytime.
Thanks again to Max Hartman for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. As mentioned, he was one of several Dogs Academy products named to the team, and next week we'll be joined by another of his teammates. Boston Workington will be our guest, so make sure you subscribe now so you don't miss that conversation. A big shout out as well to our Platinum supporters, the Okotoks Dogs, for their continued sponsorship. They were the first to join us way back when, and we couldn't thank them enough for all they do in helping us cover costs. If you or your organization is interested in joining our roster of teammates, head to our website for more. Until next time, thanks for all of your support, no matter the platform of Alberta Dugout Stories.